Ah yes, the crack of the bat in the hot summer air. Listen to that sweet, sweet sound. Of course, over the years, bats have begun to sound different and balls have begun to travel farther and more majestically than ever. And though a lot of that might have something to do with chemicals, another factor is what the bat is actually made of. Today, we're going to find out. Before I get into this, I want to thank Grand Slam Amino for sponsoring this vid. Grand Slam Amino is the ultimate social community dedicated to the MLB. It's like Bleacher Report meets Reddit, where the members of the community are the content creators. The app is really easy to use. It's a great way to find other people who are interested in the same content you are, with featured posts, quizzes, and public chat rooms. I like this feature article on Ahmed Rosario and the Mets, which helps reinforce how loathsome of a season it has been for my team. On Grand Slam Amino, members can share articles, write blogs, vote in polls, take MLB quizzes, and stay up to date with the latest MLB news. You can check out my poll, who is the greatest overweight baseball player, right now. Follow the link in the description and download the Grand Slam Amino app today for iPhone or Droid, and you can start creating polls and quizzes of your own. Now, before you start typing, bats are made out of wood, you idiot, and before you hit send on that comment, know that yes, bats are indeed made out of wood. But what kind of wood they are milled from is extremely important. The sheer physical properties of a Major League Baseball bat is actually highly critical and can make the difference between an out and a home run. So let's start with a little history lesson on what the first bats were made out of. Before the 1870s, bats could have been made out of any wood possible, including pine, spruce, even a willow tree. But through trial and error, most bats evolved into being made out of white ash from the northeastern United States, and from about 1870, ash was essentially the wood of choice for bats. Ash is lightweight, durable, strong, and hard, and has been the gold standard for bats for the majority of the MLB's history. Hey, nice ash. But in the 2000s, bat materials started to shift towards a new wood as home runs began flying out of the ballpark at a record pace, and it had to be the bats that produced those homers. I mean, there is no concrete evidence that it could have been anything else, right? So this new wood that was being used is maple wood, and it is similar to ash in the fact that it is lightweight, strong, and hard, but durable it is not. I will get to that. According to the USDA, hard maple is 5 to 10% stronger, stiffer, harder, and tougher than white ash. What's interesting about white ash versus maple is that white ash wood is a little more porous and has a pronounced grain in the wood. Think of it as layers and layers stacked upon each other. Maple is a little different as the wood is more tightly compacted, leaving less space and pockets in the wood. This affects the hitter in two key ways. Number one, with ash, the bat must be oriented towards the pitcher, as any player who has hit with a wooden bat knows this. Why? Because if you don't get all those layers oriented correctly when you hit, you're either going to shatter your bat, jack up your hands with shock, or both. With maple bats, however, you do not absolutely need to orient the label or the bat. Because the wood is tighter, the bat can hit from any side. I think that is important for today's hitters, as many of them learn how to hit on composite and metal bats, and throughout most of your non-pro career, you don't have to orient a bat towards the pitcher. And for MLB hitters, that's a big deal when you think fractions of millimeters can make the difference between a hit and an out. However, it is gaining in popularity that even the maple bat needs to be oriented. Now, let's talk about the downside to maplewood bats. As they are harder and stronger, they do have a fatal flaw. The bats shatter and splinter way easier, in fact, at nearly dangerous rates. Because of the hard layered wood, when a maple bat breaks, it doesn't snap like an ash bat would. It can explode like a claymore, sending out shrapnel like someone put a grenade in a porcupine's ass. When maple bats started becoming more popular, they were also breaking more frequently because manufacturers were having a hard time seeing if the wood grain of the bat was straight. In 2009, the MLB made it a requirement to have an ink dot on the bat so that it could be easier seen the straightness of the wood grain. This little dot helped reduce broken bats by about 50% since it was implemented, meaning that higher quality and stronger bats made it to the bigs. So now, after all of this data, we know that about 78 to 80% of MLB players are using maple bats, with many of the players still using ash, being older or stubborn. Interesting enough, in 2005, a study conducted by the Baseball Research Center concluded that a maple bat has no clear advantage in getting a longer hit over an ash bat. So it makes you wonder if the conversion to maple bat is more of a comfort thing for players versus the actual scientific properties of the wood. And we all know how important it is for players to be comfortable at the plate. Finally, as we look to the future, what materials are on the rise? There are bats that are solid and made out of composite materials that are not legal for use in the MLB, and you can be darn sure they never use metal bats in the pros, as all you would see is home runs and players getting killed on the field. Allegedly, some players have been toying around with bamboo bats, as the wood is both durable, light, and strong, but we'll see about that. Maybe someday they will conduct a study to see if bat temperature has any effect on hitting.
Hats for bats.
Yeah? What's your handicap?
Keep bats warm.
Well, I hope this was interesting for you, and don't forget to check out the link below and download the Grand Slam Amino app, and you can interact with me on there. My username is Madden5PointsInfo. I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to the end of this video.